we can talk a little more about what's happening on day 2. Steve Hartshorn, your national chair, is back with us. As if by magic, you just popped back up, Steve.
There we go.
Fantastic. What a day. What an incredible day of debate, incredible day of questions, and goodness knows how much ground was covered there. There's more of it to come tomorrow, but just to look back at the last day that we've had here in Manchester, it's been incredible.
It's been a really good day. First off, thanks to everybody who's commented. We've had some really, really good questions throughout the day. Thanks to the members for becoming involved. Thank you to my National Board, National Council colleagues that have given their time to prepare these conversations, all the external speakers. I think we've demonstrated the real value of the Federation here. You know, let's look back at some of the comments and conversations we've had today. We started off with the National Secretaries update, talking about the role of the Secretaries and what we do as an organisation. Leadership in policing, or the lack of leadership in policing. Again, some really good comments coming in around that about what it means to people to be led properly and effectively. Take on the criticism. Let's understand what needs to be changed so we can reflect and actually improve properly. Great to see Response Officer of the Year being awarded. You know, nice to give something back to our police officers that are out there doing the job day in, day out. That formal recognition, it's so important. Again, it's to encourage others to report the good work that our colleagues do. Interesting conversations with misogyny. It's not going away, it's there. We need to accept it, understand it, and try and fix it to move on and call it out properly, because until we do, things are never going to change. Let's not look at it and put it in the cupboard and ignore it. No, let's tackle it head on, improve, reflect. Had some good conversation then as well about future thinking on mutual aid, led by Steve Taylor, looking at the work that we do in support of our colleagues, but what can be improved for our colleagues when they're out there, because when you're moved out from your own force area into a different area, you expect good basic accommodation, good food, good orders, right remuneration to make sure you're compensated properly. Yeah. And again, the challenge is, if that accommodation isn't fit for a chief officer, it's not fit for a colleague. Yep. You know, let's get it right. Let's start to value the work that our police officers do. We then had the Home Office review led by Phil Jones on the impact of independent panels, looking at the misconduct, the vetting issues. Again, some really strong comments coming in from members about that. That's a big concern of ours. If it's not broken, why do we need to fix it? We say there's a really good process in place at the moment. It needs time to work properly. If chief constables want the power to sit on the panels, make them sit on the panels, don't depute it. Let's not water it down. And I know for a fact from talking to some chief officers, they don't want to sit on the panels. They're quite happy to have legally qualified chairs still remain, do the panel, but maybe give them the determination, the sanction later. So a bit like the jury system, the legally qualified chairs, the senior police officers and members of the independent members of the panel will make the determination whether any misconduct has been proven and at what level, and then give it to the chief for the final option. It's a bit like the judge and the jury. The more I speak to chiefs, the more drive there is for that, because they realise they can't sit on these panels all day long, you know. And once you water it down, who's going to be to blame? If they want the power to hire and fire, they must have the power to do it themselves. Let's not take that away from them. Yeah. It waters it down too much for me. We then had a conversation around retirement. Again, very important for, you know, a third of our service now is about the 3 to 4 year bracket. So we've got a lot of people coming towards the end of the service now, want to know what it looks like. We've got some great skills as cops, which we don't realise that should translate into the real world. So let's get ahead of the game. People need to think about it now, and not just the last 12 months, but start tailoring what you do in your career. Look towards it as opposed to fearing it. You know, we spoke to Dave Bamber, who was one of our previous board members, you know, about what he's going to be doing, what he's done and what he looks at. And he's right that when you leave policing, you're not seen as an ex-cop, you're just a member of the public. In your other professions, you're still a doctor, a professor, a journalist, you know, someone involved in radio. It's all there. So can we do more to keep those skills? Can we invest in them? That kind of thing. Again, last session of the day, disclosure, very, very important for our colleagues. We spend a disproportionate amount of time as police officers doing case files. When I first started in the mid-90s, we didn't do redaction. We sent it over, it was done, it was quite simple. Then we redact it for the file process when it got to court to make sure we complied with the then Data Protection Act. Obviously, we've now got the GDPR, slightly different, but let's have this data bubble. And why is it taking so long for government to give us what is a really, really simple fix? There are partners, almost partners in crime, so to speak, but on the good side, where we give them the file, they can take it, look at it, and if it needs working on to get to court, we can then do it. But it will free up hundreds of thousands of police officers' hours. We can then get back to the job, protect the public, and again, get back to where we need to be. So really, really good day so far. More to come tomorrow.
Yeah, let's just have a very brief look at tomorrow. There's some obvious keynote speeches. Your own, of course, Steve. Indeed. I know you got no spoiler alerts here, but, you know, it will be a very honest, as it always is, a very honest speech, delving into much of what we've talked about and some of the crucial matters really crucial matters surrounding what is becoming a very difficult job for rank and file officers.
Absolutely, no. So quick look at the agenda to save people online looking. We've got an update from our CEO, McCund, to talk about his role and the organisation and the day-to-day running of the things that he's going to be taking forward with his team. We've then got a really good sort of panel session about industrial rights and what that means to us, because there's a misunderstanding that we don't have rights. We do, it's police regulations, but do we want to seek further rights to enhance them? Because at the moment, as a staff association, we don't have any ability to withdraw labour. You know, we've got a very strong set of police regulations there which determine what we can do, but that needs exploring, because it could be argued, you know, our pay difference in the last 10, 20 years is way behind the curve where it should be. It appears the only way that we can get back to where we should be to reflect the work that police officers do on a daily basis is to have that ability like a union do.
Yep.
And again, nothing we've ever asked for has been unreasonable, so that's going to be quite an interesting session. I think will generate lots of conversation, if I'm honest. Work for under pressure, well-being. It's not lost on me that it's International Mental Health Wellbeing Day today.
Yep.
So, you know, a big shout out to everybody that's out there that's suffering. Get help, get some support, but also those that are giving people a harder time. Just think about the impact of the words they're using and giving on others. It doesn't need to be that way. Yep. Let's have professional discussions about what's wrong and what's right, and we can get there together. So lots of thought for that. Obviously, keynotes address, myself, keynote address, and then we've got the Home Secretary who's going to be doing a response to my speech tomorrow. We then have our Treasurer's report, which is always good for us to see how we are financially in the state of the country, and hopefully some positivity coming out of that. And then we're going to end the day with a panel session with myself, my Deputy Tiff Lynch, the National Secretary Callum MacLeod, Simon Kempton, who's our National Treasurer, and McCund, who is our CEO. So going to wrap up the day with some panel session discussion, hopefully some questions, and then that'll bring conference to a close.
Fabulous. It will be a busy one. Thank you again to everybody who took part, and that's all of our panellists and our guest speakers. Thank you to them. Thank you to you for all the questions that came in, because these sessions really only work in the most authentic, fullest possible way, with the input from officers who are chipping in as well. More of that tomorrow, please. Do check out sponsors on the website and on the page you're looking at now. Get over and have a look at some details for those people who are sponsoring this event as well. And we'll be back here. Make sure it's sharp, 9 o'clock. It ain't too late, 9 o'clock. Everyone can do it. Tomorrow morning here for day 2 of the Police Federation of England and Wales Conference 2023. Enjoy the rest of the day, and goodbye.